Welcome to Reality Test. I'm Dr. Ray.
And I'm Dr. Kay. Feel free to check in and take a seat wherever you like. We're going back to Batch Nation tonight, baby.
Batch Nation! It's been a while, especially with the Goldens.
Yes.
It's been a while since I've seen some Golden content, and it's nice to be back.
Truly.
I wouldn't say it's great.
Very different vibe.
Oh, sorry. I wouldn't say it's great to be back, because weird fucking season so far, in my opinion, but it's nice.
Yep. We were just talking off mic about how it's a little more robotic than Gary's season was, and so for that reason, it's not great, but it's also a difference. It's a difference to be in Golden Bachelor land.
We are noticing differences in people's integratedness of past experiences, which... or just charisma, right? Like
empathy.
Yeah. It's
or like ease of empathy, maybe. Like, I don't want to discredit his empathy. I don't know. I haven't really seen it per se, but like, at least it's not coming easily to him like it did for Gary.
No. Gary was almost a little too empathic at times. Like, he was a charmer, but I'm now looking back on him fondly because I'm like, this guy like could have a conversation and like make people feel comfortable. And that's not nothing.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And maybe it was ultimately like pulling the wool over our eyes about his intentions, but it still was at least empathetic on the surface. There was a surface level that was a pleasant level.
Mm-hmm. And made people feel good at times. And you know what? I'm not getting there yet with our friend. Shit, what's his name?
Mel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not quite there yet. But hey.
But first, what did you say?
I didn't know what to say. I was trying to redeem it, and then I just that was me searching for something.
You were like the buffering sign.
Exactly. I was like, what can I say about Mel that's positive? He's kind of good looking. Yeah, sure. Getting less good looking every minute I watch him on screen, but objectively at the beginning I thought that's not a bad looking gentleman.
Yeah, totally. Like footballer type, and I think that's definitely a type for a lot of people, so that's nice for them. And I think for me and maybe for you too, is sort of like the personality helps with the looks. So where there's lacking a little bit of like spark between, I was gonna say spark behind his eyes, but I accidentally said spark between his eyes, which is more of like a brain comment. So maybe also that, but I meant like excitement.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Mel.
Yeah, not a lot of like energy that I'm picking up from him. Yeah. But yet he must have energy because he kept them up all fucking night until like it wasn't just dawn, it was daytime. I was like, this is cruel.
Yeah. Which really showed his dedication, because it's usually the lead who's like, fuck this, we're done. Like, I'm not going to see everybody tonight, we're over. And he really was able to go that long, you're right. So he does have some spunk in it. And I think also it's like where it looks, instead of looking like he's at a point in his life where he doesn't have as much energy, it looks more like a dismissiveness. Like it reads as like sort of like a disconnected, like, you know, sort of just like I'm cool for this. I'm too cool for this. And that might be fed by the comments he made about age too prior on the podcast he was on. But which, like, I don't know if you knew that. It's not like we've talked about that every fucking second of the show so far. I am glad they addressed it, which we'll talk about. But
yeah, I didn't know it before. I was like, man, I didn't. I was like, man, I missed some beef. And then I was like, huge. I know now.
So that's important, because I bet some of our listeners also didn't necessarily know that. And it's important to know that that was actually massive, because it was all over magazines, because people were like fighting for him to be replaced. They're like, well, I won't watch it if he's the person. Like, this ageism is way too far. We've taken it too far. I'm out. Like, tweets, everything. People were like really going to be out if Mel stayed the lead. And so it was interesting that they kept him the lead. Like, people were sort of like, what the fuck? You're not listening to us or taking our feedback, that you kept him the lead. And yet, so I think that the way that they justified that was to have him like start right off by talking about it. Sort of like, we can keep him, but he's got to address like where he went wrong.
I have to say, I mean, maybe he'll loosen up. Maybe he's just really nervous, but like, he doesn't even have a lot of charisma. Like, it's not that he's this like incredible lead that, he said some shit, but man, is he going to put on a good show. So it's a little weird.
Yeah, he's not charming. He doesn't really talk a lot. Like, he doesn't have a lot to say. He sort of like expects the other person to like lead the conversation. And he's sort of like, where are we going to go? Like you'll see that also in the second episode, like at the beginning of it, folks will have seen that at the beginning of the second episode, there's like a scene where it's super awkward because he's clearly relying on the woman to like lead the conversation. And so it's similar. Yeah. You know what it is really? It's something we've talked about before where it's like, if someone's really good looking and maybe let's say like a footballer or they're like whatever, that they might not have to learn how to like be really engaging because they're already treated differently just for their looks or their football status and so he has that kind of vibe, like a little bit of an elitist, like I'm a footballer, that should be enough. Like you should already give me special treatment or like see me as just as, eligible as anybody else because of that. And it does feel like that was a choice for him, just like Clayton, where it's like, oh, they're a footballer, good enough, let's keep it going. Like it's okay that Clayton was number 8 of the fucking choices, like let's just do it because he's a footballer instead of the 4 black men that made it to the top 4 that absolutely should have been the fucking Bachelor. Let's take this guy because he's a footballer.
A little reductive, just a little. Yeah. Ugh. It's a shame, but we will get into it and and share our thoughts and lack of thoughts on other things. But damn,
yeah, this is pretty unfiltered already. We're like, here's our thoughts on Mel. I think it also speaks to like the Middle America thing, just really quick. Like we've talked about the D1, D2 thing in like Middle US, like Midwest, and so that like so much of the audience is from the Midwest, and so and like places where sports are kind of like king or privileged, and so it does make sense that they would be like, okay, the athletic part is like the exciting part, but I feel like we got to do a little better than that. It had not anything shade on the Midwest at all. I think the Midwest would probably feel the same way. It's like we don't, that's an aspect, but let's also see some spunk and quirkiness and self-deprecation, or just something like charm. Yeah,
fun. Yeah, there are plenty of charming athletes, but
yes,
I haven't seen that from him just yet, and maybe it's different in a different context. I wonder, because athletes tend to have a lot of performance anxiety because they're used to everything being like, oh, I either did well or I didn't, win or loss sort of thing. So, I mean, Dale, I wonder, because I really didn't like him on his season, and I liked him. I found him more authentic on the reunion, even though it sounds like to watch it in person, there was a different. So maybe he's like better in different contexts, but I don't know. It's not
right. He could just be anxious. It really could just be anxiety.
Yeah.
It crosses dismissiveness, and it could also be the anxiety leads to avoidance. And that's what's really dismissive about it, is that he doesn't tap into his emotional self because he's so anxious. And so that would make it disconnecting for the audience for sure. So yeah, definitely. I feel like it kind of has to improve a little bit. Like he kind of only has up to go from here in terms of like getting more comfortable. So it'll be good.
I think so. Yes. You got this, Mel. Or
yeah,
I don't know. For you. At least treat them nice, the women, please.
Yes, minimum respect.
Yes, please. Please and thank you. But
please and motherfucking thank you. And speaking of that, because one of the videos that you'll find on our YouTube or elsewhere is about the ageism that was flying around the Bachelor in Paradise reunion, and that really one of the issues was like Brian and Sean having respect for Kathy. And like that should be a motherfucking baseline. Like we should not be questioning whether you have respect for somebody. It just is so frustrating. So I do believe that Mel will at minimum like be respectful. And I think that's a gift when we compare it to some other shit recently.
Woof. He's had some recent experiences where he's like, okay, I got to be respectful if I'm going to stay on this show. And maybe it'll integrate and change the way he thinks about things. I don't think it has yet, by the way. I think he still likes younger women. Sorry. Like that doesn't change that freaking quickly. So like I see him looking at these women. I'm like, he wants a 30 something. Like that's what he wants.
Yeah.
And I can't.
That could be part of it too.
Yeah. That's true. I can't just unring that bell in my head, because I think when people tell you who they are, especially about something like that, attraction, you can't just change that quickly, in my opinion. But I don't know.
I totally agree. And like he, even in some of the descriptive words he uses for the women that he's particularly drawn to, he says things like, she's beautiful and she's energetic. It's like, so like, right, we're back at the place we started, that you have quote unquote apologized about prior, but we're like doing the same thing with other words for it.
Yeah, he wants to be with a younger woman, and that is what will happen. He will leave with someone on this show, and in my opinion, we'll break up with them and then date a younger woman, because that is what he wants. Sorry.
1,000% what my perspective was on it too. I said the exact same thing to Sean, like during the first episode. I was like, dude, he's not going to make anything last with these women. He's going to do it to make it look like he did the job. As soon as it's socially acceptable to get the fuck out, he will. And then he will date a younger woman because he's probably used to dating a younger woman as it is. Like he probably has had elements, whether it's like sleeping or situationships or whatever, since the divorce that have been with younger women because he's an NFL player or whatever. Like he feels like he can just flash that card and he probably can successfully. So I just feel like we'll talk more about it during the show recap too, because there are moments it definitely comes up strong. Mm-hmm. I love it. Okay, we're already excited. We already have shit to say.
Yes, we do.
It's rich in that way.
Mm-hmm.
It's conflicting. But first, we will do check-ins and also our reality check in addition to our check-ins. And we just want to mention first and foremost that we are a therapist, but not y'all's therapists, other than our clients that are listening. And we're also not the therapists of the people that we are reviewing content about. So we didn't meet with them or assess them in any way that would give us the right to diagnose in any way. We likely won't talk a lot about diagnoses, but if we do, it's in a wondering sense. So with that in mind, what is on your heart and mind, dear Dr. Ray, today?
Life of a Showgirl, Taylor Swift's new album. This little known up and coming artist, Taylor Swift. You might have heard of her. I'm not sure.
You might have heard us talk about her as well.
Kind of an underground artist. No, her new album came out. I liked it. I think I always, it's the basic white girl in me recognizes the basic white girls in a lot of America who are aging millennials who grew up. I came from a conservative family growing up. I listened to her when she was country. As she evolved, I evolved. So I wonder if that happened for a lot of us who stay really loyal to her. Yes. But yeah, it's fine. She, it gets, I think she could take a break because I think she's such a hard worker. She just puts out fucking albums like back to back to back. And it's like, sometimes absence makes the heart grow fonder, but I'm glad for the bops. I've been enjoying listening to it. Some of them are good. Some of them feel less good to me, but some bops. We'll be listening to her, I'm sure, on the radio for the next year. So yeah, that's how I feel about Life of a Showgirl. It's pretty good.
Excellent.
Yes.
You looked a touched fatigued when you said we'll be listening to it in the future year. You're like, it's future year.
Yes. I go through this phase where I'm like, I start listening to her albums. I'm like, this is okay. And then I kind of fall in love with it. It's like, and then I kind of fall out of love with it. So I guess I'm... Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Like the singles start to get like sickening. You're like, I know these singles were over it. I like this other one that you don't hear on the radio as much. So
Exactly. And it's, but she, she's a popular artist. So Life of a Showgirl. Pretty good.
Do you have a recommended track that anyone else should listen to that would otherwise not listen to the whole CD?
Eldest Daughter. I liked probably because I'm an eldest daughter. It talks about, what I like about it is she talks about, like, it's really cool to be unbothered nowadays. And she's like, I'm not unbothered. I think she says, I'm not a bad bitch and this isn't savage, but I'm never going to let you down and I'm never going to leave you out. And I'm like, that is a nice line, in my opinion.
I love it. That's great.
I think it's sweet because I think it speaks to the internet moment we're in where everyone's too cool. And she's like, that's not me. And I liked that.
Yeah. It's emotionally accepting, emotionally expressive, and it's also normalizing of like not being a hipster. Like I don't think we need to all like that. We are in the like hipsters are the ones sort of at the right age right now to like be controlling the script, if you will, or whatever. That they're like the cool, and that is such a part of the hipster culture is like being too cool to look bothered,
to care.
And so I love that she can be like in such an important spot in culture and be able to be like, I'm bothered.
Yeah, I'm very bothered and very loyal. And I'm like, I like that about you. She's herself, Taylor Swift is going to keep Taylor Swifting. But yeah, that was a nice track, Eldest Daughter.
I love it. I'm definitely going to listen to that. I'm definitely the youngest. Well, I'm the only daughter, but I'm the youngest. So it'll also be interesting to hear from that position, family, sibling position.
Yeah, I think it all, because I'm an oldest sibling, it also resonates with me. I'm like, I too am an eldest daughter, so that's fun.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I'll be listening from I'll be listening from an etic position. I'm from the outside of that position. But it's interesting is, right, they say that like based on your birth order, you get along well with someone who's in the other position. So because I'm the youngest and you're the oldest, we will, obviously that's a big part of why we get along so well, because our birth order differences.
And my partner, apparently oldest daughters often marry youngest sons. I guess that's a thing, but I married a youngest son.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I married the older one.
Yeah,
so,
that's hilarious. I wonder what that is. I have no idea.
We're more comfortable with people in the other position. Like we grew up with, and I think particularly when you're like the oldest and youngest versus like thinking about the middle ground too, is that like when the youngest sibling is born, often the oldest sibling is at a certain age where they can actually just appreciate the new kid, like rather than feeling displacement. And so that just creates a different kind of bond. And I can imagine that being something we'd want to replicate. And I also think in my husband's case, there's only 2 siblings, so there is no like middle there. So I don't know how that also intervenes, but I'm the youngest of 4, so it's like a slightly different, and you also have multiple. So it's interesting to think about that. But I think it otherwise makes sense because we're in that role. We're like used to being the youngest, the peacekeeper, or we're used to being the one that's sort of nurturing and has done the ropes and can, think about like how to think about mom and dad and navigate the dynamic.
Yeah, youngest siblings, you're like this. My youngest brother, imperfect person, but genuinely sweet and wants people to get along. So I think there's just something. Connor is very sweet too. It's just like
very peacekeeping. Yeah, very peacekeeping.
Whereas oldest siblings are a little more, this isn't fair. You just are wound a little tighter, maybe.
Yeah, that is a birth order thing. Exactly. It's a little bit tighter, a little more anxious, and also in a good way, because if you are setting the tone, you complaining about what's not working is what will make it work for everyone else. And that makes it hard for the oldest sibling because they're like, you get it better than I did, partly because I complained about it. So like that can create a little bit of an interesting thing that can happen, but also ultimately like you complaining is what can help everyone, including the parents, learn, right? Like, so they depend on the oldest sibling in a different way too. And there's sort of an interesting like alignment that happens with the oldest sibling too. Yeah, there's so much birth order stuff by like Adler that I came to understand differently when I like really established how it related to my romantic relationships. Like I learned about it in terms of my siblings, but when I heard about the fact that like we marry or like date, I was like, oh, that makes so much fucking sense. Also why I get along with my siblings differently than, from each other also.
And in the past, I've dated oldest siblings, and obviously those didn't work out in the end. So what do you know?
I love that.
Not on purpose. I love that it's like, it just kind of happened. I was just thinking about it. I was like, yeah.
Oh, right. That's right. I feel like because it's also the difference between complementary and sameness. Like we sometimes date the same thinking that will be good, but it really is better to be complementary than the same as our partner.
I once, this was just like a flirty friendship for reason, but I once like had a flirty friendship that then turned more platonic because I think I have obsessive compulsive disorder. This person did too. And we always had so much fun together because our brains are both like, blah. But then one time I was really anxious about something and this person upregulated the shit out of me. And we just both got so anxious. And I was like, this will never work in my head. I was very confident. Great friend, great person. But I was like, we are not destined to be together. It just will not work.
Exactly. You need someone who's a little bit more grounding, like your partner now, and just be able to like meet you where you're at, like co-regulate with you, like not just ground, but also like get where you're at, but then bring both of you down to like a comfortable place. And yeah, I definitely relate to that too. It's good when you both have, it's okay if you both have neuroses, but hopefully they're about different things. So you can both bring the other down to.
It was just the funniest, quick escalation. When I think about it now, it's funny, but at the time it was like, well, I was anxious, but it is funny. Funny, clear signal. Woo.
Yeah. 2020. And also, I feel like that also speaks a lot. Like we're saying, where we even got here from was the idea that you and I having the same dynamic is so great, like older and younger sibling, that of course we get along so well, because also that's true with us about our neuroses too. Like both of us having our own like OCD related topics or areas where we get upregulated, and then the other person's able to just be like, whoop, we're here, like bringing it, and but still relate to the other person. Like I understand what's happening for you right now while you're upregulating, not right now, but in the moment that it happens, I understand what's happening for you. So I'm able to be like, okay, here's what would be helpful for me. And we're able to do that for each other.
We're able to, yes, exactly. It was very different than me in this. Thank goodness. That would be very stressful if we upregulated each other. That would be a really hard space.
We'd be upregulating our listeners. We would all be upregulating,
and our students. Oh, gosh. That could get tricky.
At dissertation meetings, you and I are both like, doing like catastrophizing together or something and upregulating at the same time. Students, I'm pretty sure, would just be like, I'm out. We're not doing this.
Deuces. Goodbye. Oh, good stuff.
That was fun to fantasize about for a second.
Yeah. Things could be worse.
Exactly. And it's not bad at all. But it definitely could be worse. Exactly.
Exactly.
I'm grateful for our dynamic. And we just talked about that off camera again too, because we sometimes have more like a 4-hour check-in, even though we've seen each other recently. It's not like it had been 2 weeks since we talked, but there's just sometimes it's like this additional content that comes into our dynamic that's so helpful, and we like both feel it. So now the rest are like itching to, like, let's keep it moving, unless we have a time crunch. But that's so nice to have that comfort level and also like alignment, so that we have a little bit of a shorthand and can just like dig into the important stuff quickly. We're not like doing the little bit of like, let me tell you about this thing. I think about this first, and then I can get to the thing that matters. We're both like, doop, doop, doop.
The preamble can kind of, yes, exactly. When I said it could be worse, I didn't mean about our dynamic. I meant in the world in general, or yes, I was like,
it could be so much upregulated.
I recognize that came out a little funny, but yes, I'm very grateful for our dynamic. But I was like, things could be worse in my advising style. I could be upregulating people constantly.
Exactly. No, that's so true too. And also, I wouldn't have minded if you said about us either. I would have understood you didn't mean it like because it sucks. I was like, wait, because at first I agreed with you. I was like, yeah, it could be worse. I was like, wait, we're great though. We're great too. Yeah, no, it would have been fine either way. But also, you're so right. In terms of advising, like we both know how to help co-regulate somebody who is upregulated, and our students are often upregulated because they are often coming in to do therapy for other people because they can relate to what it feels like when you need to be tethered by somebody or sort of like work through a processing thing. So we tend to attract folks like that. And that also means that we can relate to them, and also means it's important that we can ground, and that it could be worse if we were only upregulating.
And being a student's fucking hard. So sending out good vibes to all the students.
Yes.
It's tough out there.
Yeah, truly. Which also, like, just make a quick parallel to the like birth order thing is also like the astrological thing, that there's like your sister sign is the sign that's complementary, not the same. Like, so it's not going to be like Earth or blah blah blah. So, and I think I mentioned this before, that my husband and I figured out well into our marriage actually that we're both sister signs, like the most compatible one for each other's signs, and we're both like, yep, that makes sense, because we've always said like there's something cosmic about the fact we feel like we've known each other. We have known each other pretty much forever also, but it immediately felt like that. We immediately felt like we were on a different plane from the other coworkers. We met at work well before we got married. But both of us, like, it was just different. We felt different about each other than someone at any employment place. He really stood out as like an exception. It felt different. And I think that's also something like often think about as something when you compare relationships that have worked with ones that haven't, often feel like it probably could also be compared along astrological signs in addition to birth order.
Yeah, totally. It's funny because my partner and I actually don't have compatible astrological signs, but they say our signs actually are compatible if you get beneath the surface, I guess. If you can get through the initial mismatch, actually, like Scorpios and Aquariuses are actually both very like big picture, deep thinkers who can just like, blah, 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 blah. But it's initially there's a mismatch because Aquariuses are so like friendly and weird, and Scorpios are a little more like reserved and to themselves. But
which is kind of complimentary though, like, because then you bring that person out of it a little bit, and then they're also able to help Aquariuses feel a little less tied to have to be social if they don't, it sort of reminds each other there's another version of being social, which I think can be really also helpful on the surface level. But I totally know what you mean about like when you get deep, you both get deep, and you both are able to like see what we're working with here in a way that doesn't stress each other out.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, it's cute.
Yeah, it's astrological.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
No.
What's on your heart and mind this week? I forgot to even ask you.
You were not at all. I honestly, like, I think we both were like, and how do we restart? Okay. No, you're perfect. So my heart and mind today, saw a little baby today, had a lot of baby snuggles, which was much needed. And also just like this little nugget is in a growth spurt age of some sort because she is crying and scream crying quite a bit. And she's doing this thing where she does it when she closes her eyes. Whereas like back in the day when she was like first born, when she would get anxious, her eyes were open. Like she was aware of something that was making her anxious. And now it's like when she closes her eyes, she'll cry. And so I feel like it's something internal. Like there's some sort of like, maybe it's like pre-teething or like what, some version of that. But it means it's like real deafening, like real hard to hear. And yet something about it, because she's so freaking cute, I like don't even care. It's not phasing me. I just like, I just want to snuggle you even when you're screaming at me. And I like sing to her, like, don't cry for me, Argentina. I was doing a lot of that today because there was so much crying and I was just enjoying it. And she really will just like sort of like settle into that and just still slobber on me a little bit because she's still like figuring out how to like come back down from crying. But, she's with me dancing to Don't Cry for Me, Argentina. So it's just like a nice, speaking of co-regulating time or grounding, frankly. She's not co-regulating with me. Luckily, I'm not scream crying. But yeah, so that was nice. I love that there's that sort of like guttural or like obviously probably for us given our age it's not just guttural, it's like hormonal as well, but there's something that just feels very removed, like you removed from your day-to-day life, right, with babies, because they're not fucking around with it. They don't want to hear about your work. You can't really think about your work. You got to focus on the crying baby or focus on whatever, or the snuggles, enjoy the oxytocin. So that was on my heart and mind today. Having baby. Just ended that baby snuggle session when we started.
So freaking cute. So cute. And yeah, that dyad is lucky to have you and your partner as grandparents. And just, it was so nice to see the little baby we had a brief video chat and I got to see the little baby. Really cute.
Yeah, we started on the phone. I just happened to find my phone in the house right before you called. I was like, oh, you have already called too. And I was like, wow, that really is fun. And then on top of that, because I hadn't seen it in like hours, baby. And then I was like, I have to see this fucking baby. I can't even do it justice. I have to see his cute little face, little chubby cheeks and sweet baby angel.
There's your cheeks. It's the cheeks. And yeah, I didn't get the crying or screaming. I just got cute baby with a discerning face. Like, who are you on this phone? Which I thought was reasonable and appropriate.
Exactly. Her eyebrows are so expressive right now. It's so cute. I can't stand it. It's so like inquisitive. She very quickly like cycles through different things just with her eyebrows. And it's amazing. I'm obsessed with it. I was literally taking like a series of pictures without stopping, like portrait mode, because I was looking at her, but I wanted to make sure I got everything that could happen possibly. And there's like 200 photos and they're all different because she's so quick to like shift her face. It's so cute. Oh, yeah, that's so sweet. She's already like full blown adult with her expressiveness. Like there's all of the expressiveness that I would expect from an adult face. It's so cute. And right, like you said, her mom is my bonus daughter is just so amazing with her and loving, and the two of them are just incredible. It's so fun to witness and then also get to jump in on the snuggling with. Both witness and experience.
Do all of it at the same time. Oh,
yes. I it's like, see, I feel it and I see it. I see it and I hear it and I feel it. Oh, I definitely hear it today.
Loud and clear.
Loud and clear. They say, actually, this is not my study for Reality Check, but they say that first-time parents have like somewhat high reactivity to a crying baby, but then after that, second-time parents have less reactivity to a crying baby than even non-parents.
Wow. And
then then you're just like, woo, drop off, like we're fine here, and yeah. So like as not having had a baby out of my own body, I probably am in like the, sort of like middle zone there, not quite as reactive as a first time parent who's like worried there's something happening that's wrong, but definitely not as non-reactive as a second time parent. Still a little bit like,
you're crying again.
What am I doing wrong? How do we do this? I'll just sing as long as I can. And she really did. I was like, okay, if all I have to do is sing to keep you quiet for an hour, I will effing do that. And it's good for also my bonus daughter because she's dealing with this like permanently right now, just because she is going through this growth spurt. It's just like constant crying and she's not sleeping very much also this stage. So I was like, please let me just have her for as long as I can. I don't care if she's screaming the whole time. Like at least you get a little bit of ear relief.
Right. It's not right in your ears. Yeah. Oh, God. Indeed.
So that's the check-in stuff. Babies, and also Taylor Swift.
Yes. Quite the combo.
Women, yeah, exactly. Little like women's experiences corner here. And next up, we're going to have our reality check segment, which is where Dr. Ray and I bring in a study that we think is relevant in any possible way. It might be irrelevant. Who cares? It's something we feel like people might want to hear about or that we're noodling on for any variety of reasons. What have you brought for our reality check today, dear Dr. Ray?
So a lot has been written about the loneliness epidemic and how people are lonelier than ever, how that intersecting with age can lead to poorer mental health outcomes, physical health outcomes. And so I found a study thinking about ageism because our friend Mel had some ageism to work through, like what can lead to positive mental health outcomes in seniors or older people. Sorry, I think this article says seniors. I don't know if that's a good phrase to use. But essentially what this study found, it's called Loneliness, Ageism, and Mental Health, the buffering role of, did I already say that?
No.
Oh,
you did not.
We can cut that, I'll say. So the article is titled Loneliness, Ageism, and Mental Health, the Buffering Role of Resilience in Seniors by Jose Alberto Ribeiro Goncalves. So sorry if I pronounced that wrong.
Goncalves. And the only reason I know it's Goncalves is because that's also the last name of a murder victim in the Idaho murders.
Oh, shit.
So I heard them pronounce their own last name as Goncalves.
Goncalves, anyway. Yes, thank you. No, appreciate it. And Pedro Alexandre Costa and Isabel Leal were the three authors on this study, talking about ageism and loneliness as two relevant public health phenomena because of their negative impact on mental health, which we know bad mental health outcomes also impact your physical health. And so this study was done in Portuguese, with Portuguese seniors during the pandemic. And they found...
I was just thinking about the pandemic.
Sorry?
I was just thinking about the pandemic being a huge factor. I love that you picked one with the pandemic in the mix.
Yeah. And they spoke about the moderating factor, yes, of resilience. Oh, no, it's mediating factor. So folks who are more resilient tend to feel less the impact of ageism and loneliness. And when we think about resilience, as folks who study trauma, we know that resilience has a lot to do with relationships and, you know, being able to co-regulate with others, be with others, and kind of integrate and work through some of the things that have happened in your life. And also, like, I think I said this about my grandmother who's 99. One thing I've always noticed about her is she tends to like wear life lightly and wear things lightly. And so I think that is something that's really important, is being able to be resilient, which is something that we as therapists certainly encourage it in our clients. And more folks who work with older adults, I think, could maybe help with the integration of resilience.
Yeah, because there's specific factors you can move the needle on a little bit to help someone with developing resilience. And that's important to know because some articles talk about resilience, talk about it as like, have it or you don't. And that's sort of in some ways then like a little bit of like adjacent to victim blaming for people with trauma that don't have a resilience, quote unquote. Because it's sort of like, well, that person doesn't have resilience. So of course they develop PTSD. And it's sort of like, well, that person maybe didn't have the resources to like have the community connection or whatever. And so knowing as therapists what types of things you can move the needle on, and therefore knowing where the edges are in terms of like marginalized identities, like maybe they don't have a community center, then you know how to like sort of address that in a way that is a little bit more equitable, because absolutely like resilience, as we know, in major ways can change a lot of different health outcomes. And I love that point for older adults as well. Because the other thing too is like sometimes the trauma is the thing that gave you resilience, and sometimes the trauma is the thing that made it so that resilience wasn't accessible to you. And so that the same kind of thing. And you just imagine that folks who are much older probably have had some sort of trauma. I just realized I was sort of making that assumption, which is not true. Not some maybe don't have trauma, but at that point it's harder to get away without having had something traumatic happen. And so they might have had that either increase or decrease the presence of resilience. So I like thinking about that mediating factor as well.
That's a really good point about, because I remember the discourse around resilience, especially in the early aughts, was like, yeah, you've got to be resilient. And those who aren't resilient, get it together. But it's like, yeah, if we don't look at the intersecting complicated factors that facilitate resilience or hinder it, that's a huge problem, right? Perhaps my lovely grandmother has been able to be more resilient because she has a lot of privileged identities and some marginalized ones, to be fair. At least one that I know of in particular, that she's a woman, but
exactly. We do know that.
Yes. And I totally agree. So important to think about the complexities of how resiliency is developed or hindered. And as therapists, it is something that we really work on with our clients, is kind of building those internal and external resources. So more therapists for older adults.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, geriatric and geropsych sort of fields are so underserved. I did it only for 1 year of my training. I absolutely loved it. And I now see through much older adults in my private practice, but I definitely think about some of those settings where that is just such a need. And right, like Florida as a state could probably use a bunch of therapists when people are able and willing to go down there, especially since therapists tend to be more liberal, and Florida is the opposite of that. So I don't imagine that the therapists are flocking there, but definitely could use it. Yeah, I definitely love that. I love thinking about that in terms of the ageism piece. You're so right, because both the Bachelor in Paradise piece, with thinking about the ageism, and then Golden Bachelor, flying around the screen. It's normalized and somehow okay. And so it's really nice to think about the fact that that's yet another type of minority stress, marginalization related stress for older adults. And if we're not thinking about the other pieces of how to support them, then that's going to help make their life shorter, not just, affect their mental health, as you mentioned, the physical health and mortality. So important.
Absolutely. Super, super important. Yes.
I feel
what is your reality? Oh, sorry.
No, that's good. We were on the same exact page. I think I could tie that in again. I don't know why I feel like the need to do that, but I feel like I had to do it. I can't help it. But one of the things I wanted to talk about today is the positive psychology field and the way that they look at intentional behaviors and intentional factors. So one of the things that they do is they draw a positive psych idea that rather than being focused on psychology or sort of diagnosis, and I feel like it might even be tied up with him feeling powerful, such that he actually actively needs to be doing that and having that for affirmation from young hot things. Mm-hmm. So what a joy. I will say also, in the meantime, friends, if you're interested in other things that we have to offer, which are many, there's a Dr. Kay rant out there. I am ranting with extreme prejudice. No, just kidding. Actually, it is. It's prejudice against ageism, which is fair, I will say. Come to our Patreon at patreon.com/realitytest. You can also go to the search bar at patreon.com and put in the @ symbol and then reality test. It's $5 a month, friends. $5 a month. And you know what else? You probably get it for free for the first year, because we're also doing promos related to those who join on the sooner end. And also, you will get free access, early access to the episodes for the audios, because we're going to put them out on. By the way, you can freely join our Patreon as a free member to get access to those early audios. You don't actually have to pay the $5 a month for that. You just be a free member. You'll get free audio the night before we usually post it. And then also, if you got the $5 a month thing or the promo from us, you can get access to our full video episodes. Otherwise, you're going to be looking at the half episodes, the excerpts of the video episodes on YouTube. Full audio is wherever you get your pods, though. We're also on Instagram at Reality Test Podcast. Then we're on YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok at Reality Test Pod. We're also on Gmail at realitycheckpodding, PODDING @gmail.com.
And don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, tell all your friends. And yeah, we so appreciate your support so we can keep doing this thing we love.
Yay! And hi, friends that came here because of a friend recommending it. Mm-hmm. Glad you're here. And to all of you, so glad you're here. And what a joy always, even if we are, a little bit unidirectional here, we feel like we know you well just because you're listening to us. So we're still feeling it. And we will see you all next session. Bye, friends.
Bye.